So I am attempting to fix up one of our original wood windows. The frame or the sash is in pretty good shape, but the window itself, the glass was shattered. So I did get some replacement glass. I had someone cut it for me at Lowe's. I'll show you that in a minute. This is my first time doing this, so I watched a lot of videos and hopefully it goes well, but we'll see. I'm just gonna remove the paint, get that stripped. I've been working on removing the window glaze that was on there before, but that's been really tough. Here's what the window looked like before I removed it. The glass is still in there, but it's shattered. I started by very carefully removing the strips of wood that were holding the sash in place. I had to be really careful not to break these because these will go back on once the window gets back in there. Then I removed all the broken glass that was still in the window, and a lot of that old window glazing came off with that. I just made sure to wear some heavy duty gloves while I removed the glass. So I had never ordered glass from anywhere before. I'd never had anyone cut me glass, but it was really easy. I just walked into Lowe's. First I had measured the dimensions of the window, like where the window is inset in the frame. And so I had the dimensions of, I had a shard of the broken glass, so I knew the thickness of it. And so I took that in with Lowe's. I told them, I need a glass cut for a window, make sure it's, exterior, interior glass, something that can be outside. I showed them the thickness. He said they actually only had one thickness, so it was the same as what I had. And you order it based off what they can cut it. So they had a size of glass that was 28 by 32 inches, and I needed a piece cut that was 28 by 28 inches. So I still had to pay the price for the 28 by 32 inch glass. They just cut it down 28 to 28. So that's how they price it. This one big piece of glass, which I can show you, again, it's 28 inches by 28. That was $24 at our Lowe's. Just setting it inside. Trying to be really careful with this because I don't want to have to go cut it again, get it cut again. Okay, I think it is going to fit perfectly. It's just that there's so much paint and all around that still needs to come off, but it definitely looks like it's gonna fit. So that's good news. We can move on now. So I just finished getting all of the old window glazing off the side here, and that was a lot harder than I thought it would be. It was just really hard and caked on there. What worked best for me was just using a flat head screwdriver. That worked a lot better than like a paint scraper did, especially like down in this section where the window kind of sits in there. There was a lot of glazing in there that was kind of really hard to scrape out. So that's done. So now I'm just gonna put some paint stripper on. So I have stripped the window. Took a lot longer than I was thinking it would. I used the citrus strip and I left that on for a whole day. Stripped the paint off, and then it got really gunky, and so I used some mineral spirits with a tough sponge just to get the rest of that gunk off. Got it as much as I could, got all the putty out of the window, and then I just went back through, oh, and after that I wiped it clean, sanded it, and I just went ahead and painted it. I have not put the glass in yet, but I went ahead and painted it just with some exterior paint. I read somewhere that you want to have paint on, it's better to have paint on the wood before you put the window glazing on, so the oil from the glaze doesn't soak into the wood. So I did that, went ahead and painted it. So now it's all ready to, the next step is to put the glass into the window. Okay, so I'm ready to glaze or put the window into the frame. Somehow I broke the tip off of my window glazing, so yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I just put the putty into a Ziploc bag, just like you would with some icing on a cake. Cut a hole, and I'm gonna put some in. I'm gonna put a thin bead along the ledge here, and then I'm gonna set the window into that. Just gently. Now I'm going to put in the push points. I just bought a new pack because I didn't have enough for this window, and you just push them in to the wood and they just hold the glass in place. And I'm going to do about 3 on each side. Okay, so after all that work, I really was not happy with how the window glaze turned out. So I decided to scrape all of that glazing off and start over, use a different kind of glaze that was more of a putty. So I got this glazing compound, which is stiffer. It's more of like a putty. And I've just been taking a scoop of it. I kind of roll it up like a snake. And I also got a better tool. I got a 1 1/4 inch putty knife. And a trick with this I found is making sure your knife is really cleaned off when smoothing out your lines. So take this, roll it up, kind of just place it along the edge here. My gloves are really sticky, so this is. And then this putty knife has like a little beveled edge. I'm just using the flat edge, and I just go right up against the glass and the wood. Just gonna scrape it off like that, and then I take the putty off so it has a clean edge. Just kind of going at like a 45-degree angle. But this putty is so much better than the last stuff I was using. The last stuff was just so sticky that it was just really frustrating to mess with. This is a lot more stiff, so it's just a lot easier to work with, which I'll show you. So before I was using the dab window glazing, I did not like this. This was not good. And now I'm just using this glazing putty. I call it a putty, I guess a compound, and it works much better. Okay, so I'm gonna finish. Just gonna go back through, cleaned off the edge really well, and I'm just gonna make sure this edge is touching the glass and this edge is touching the wood, and I just drag it along to smooth it out. sometimes I do pick it up along the way. I don't think you're supposed to do that, but I just get a lot of extra putty if I don't. So I'm just gonna kind of just keep going. It's not perfect, but it looks much better than the first time. So this is just kind of a, you know, use my mistake as an example, and yeah, just kind of a trial and error thing, but I'm much happier with this. Still need to clean it up a little, but this is just kind of what it looks like now. So again, it's not perfect. I still need to do this side, but it looks a lot better than it did before. So I'm glad I took it off and started over. Someone said to use whiting or chalk dust with a dry paintbrush to kind of clean up the residue that's left behind. I didn't have any of that, so I'm using baking soda. It works, probably doesn't work as well. I kind of get the baking soda on the edge of the brush, and if there's a spot, I'll just kind of scrub it out with the paintbrush. But that's just kind of what I'm doing now, is cleaning up the residue. I know you want to do that right away. You don't want to wait till it dries, but just be careful because you don't want to mess up those lines that, you know, you worked so hard to do. So